Hello, my name is Sydney. Today I'll be going over the most common secondary prompts that I encountered during my application cycle. Each program may have phrased their secondaries differently, but I'd say the general gist stayed consistent. I didn't pre-write any secondaries, so I hope you guys aren't kicking yourselves too hard if you aren't able to do so right now due to circumstances out of your control. It is true that secondaries come all at once in waves, but as long as you're consistent, focused, and organized, you will get them done. If you're curious about my specific writing approach as well as some of my favorite secondary essays, please subscribe to be notified of those upcoming uploads. Timestamps of each prompt, breakdown, and which schools these prompts came from will be included in the description. I'll also include this video's outline for a written reference of these prompts. Without further ado, let's begin. Almost all schools' prompts say the same from year to year, so I've linked a site that has compiled all of these prompts in the description. As a general overview, these are the main prompts I encountered. Boop! I'm going to talk about each type of prompt and include examples from different schools if you wanted to take a moment to pause and read. But to start, number 1, the exposure and preparation to medicine. This prompt generally will ask you to list the relevant experiences that you have to 1, confirm that you have a general understanding of the field, but 2, to show that you've started to learn the skills necessary to succeed as a physician. To break this down even further, academics such as GPA and standardized scores show a dedication to a lifetime of learning and that you develop the study habits to succeed in medical school. For community service and volunteer work, this shows you have a commitment to caring for others. In terms of clinical experience, this indicates that you have some sort of exposure to the healthcare environment and healthcare team. Research shows that you recognize the importance of science in medicine to improve patient outcomes and future therapeutics. And work experience, if you took some time off after graduating, shows that you have the maturity and understanding of how to work with people. And I've included some ways these schools phrase this exposure or preparation to medicine question. Number 2, the academic prompt. I've encountered a couple questions of the most scholarly endeavor, especially the schools that are very research focused will ask you to elaborate on your research experience, as well as the other side of academics in terms of just in the classroom to address any concerns regarding GPA, MCATs, or any notification on your transcript that might cause concern. And this is just an area for you to elaborate on why that was, such as some family circumstances, and to further show how you've improved since then. These are examples from 2 schools for the academic prompt. Number 3, diversity. This is a hot secondary prompt. You'll probably see this across every single secondary you'll receive. But essentially what the diversity prompt is asking you to do is to tell how your unique story shapes how you view the world today. With that, how does that unique lens transcend to how you intend to care for others and practice medicine in the future? So like I said, this is pretty much across all schools. So here it is. Number 4, continuing that hot secondary vibes, you'll also receive the adversity secondary prompt. This prompt asks you to share any obstacle you've had to overcome in your journey thus far. Upbringing, background, life stories, any perceived challenge that you encountered. This is a space to talk about that. This is an example of a school's adversity prompt. Number 5, health inequity. I would say that this prompt will become more and more popular as the years go on. I noticed across secondaries is how you can elaborate on work that you've done with the underserved or certain communities that don't have regular access to care. Essentially, what this prompt is asking you to do is to show how your exposure to different demographics or underserved communities factor into your why medicine. And this is a very convenient segue to what you want to do in the future of healthcare. Which leads me to number 6, the future of healthcare prompt. I saw a lot of schools that ask you specifically to identify an area of medicine that needs improvement, and from there, take that hypothetical lens to ask yourself what you intend on doing in the future. What actionable change are you trying to have? It shows your critical thinking abilities to 1, identify an area of medicine that needs improvement, but 2, create connections on how you can build upon that. This is a great way to talk about specialty interests if you have any, or any passions that you would want to integrate. Number 7 is the autobiographical sketch, which is a monster prompt in itself. This is basically the equivalent of when someone says, boohoo, cry me a river, write me your whole life story, but they actually mean it. This prompt is a monster because it really asks you to sit down, reflect, and recall your upbringing, experiences throughout school, and any factor that has made you who you are today. This is the place to hash that out. To give you a true grasp of this prompt, I'm just going to read this in addition to putting it on the screen. For UCSD, for example, this should be a true autobiographical statement. Topics to be included are family, childhood, primary and secondary school years, undergraduate years, and if applicable, what you've done since completing your bachelor's degree. You should also discuss the motivational factors which led you to a career in medicine, including any disadvantages or obstacles which might put your accomplishments into context. A repeat of your AMCA statement will not be acceptable. Number 8, the mission statement. This essentially asks, how do you, said applicant, fit in with the mission statement of our school? This kind of requires you to do a little bit of homework to look into the site to highlight the qualities that you have that best exemplify the students that they want to admit. Along that same researchy lines is the why our school prompt, which is basically a way to say, we're great, but let us know why we're great and why you want to come to our school. This prompt is a great way, like I mentioned before, to touch upon the mission statement and show how you will contribute, whether that's to their hospital system or even to their student body. What do you uniquely bring to this class? The 10th kind of prompt, and this encompasses a lot of different kinds, the growth prompt, as I've named it. Essentially what this is a question that prompts you to look into the anecdotal archives that you currently have. What I believe schools are trying to do is give you an opportunity to share a story that shows your maturity in not only experiencing but overcoming obstacles. Some examples of this growth category: the proudest accomplishment prompt, a time you failed prompt, a moment of resilience prompt, and a personal feedback that was difficult to receive prompt. When answering these different types of prompts, I highly encourage you to always bring it back to what you learned, how you grew, and how you will take that with you in your future of pursuing medicine. The last and final type of prompt, number 11, just kidding, I was 12. 11, the kind of listing prompts or the miscellaneous ones that I didn't really have a category name. We're just gonna call them list miss. Some examples: the gap year prompt, asking you to do just that, explain what you are planning to do during your gap year or what you have done during your gap year. The second list miss would be to elaborate on your connection to the area or community that that school specifically serves. This prompt is used to assess someone's tie to the area. This also gauges whether people are more likely to stay in this area to serve as a doctor after they graduate. For example, I know UC Riverside tends to favor admits who are either from their undergrad or also residents of the Inland Empire, just to ensure that they keep the doctors they train there. Another type of list miss prompt is the reapplicant question, and this essentially is a way for schools to know what has changed since the last time you applied. How are you coming back as a stronger applicant? Lastly would be the anything else you want to include in this section that you already haven't told us about prompt. Usually I filled out this section if any previous prompt of that school didn't ask me to elaborate on my upbringing or my background, just to give the schools a bigger, better, hopefully, picture of me. Any way to help my case in terms of granting the interview, I just took that opportunity to write there. So that includes all the prompts I wanted to talk about in today's video. If you have any questions or any concerns, please leave them in the comments below, or you're more than welcome to send me a direct message on my Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for those next videos. I messed up my own... I'm so formulaic and scriptic when I don't say the exact thing I don't know what to do, and I freeze and I get weird. But thank you for watching, and bye!